Alright, so here's a little master class, how to beat Unison cards. So the pro tip for that is, when it comes to dealing with Unison cards, is you don't deal with them, you ignore them. Focus on winning the game. You don't win the game by attacking battle cards and Unison cards. You win by attacking the leaders only. The only time you deal your opponent damage is attacking their leader. So you should master dealing your opponent as much damage as quickly as possible. That way you can win before anything else in the game becomes, a issue, a problem. If Unisons are a problem when they get played on turn 3 or turn 5, then beat your opponent before it even gets to that point. To me, the only real problematic Unisons are the blocker ones, especially if they're low cost, like this 2-cost Frost for the clan. He's a 2-cost blocker. Interesting enough, I did just win a real life duel using this Unison, legit Unison of Fury, in my Shinron deck. Obviously, I paid 4 energy to play this, -3, and then I was able to get the double strike 5k and dual attack. So 20k double strike attacking twice. That's really good. And it's on a Unison, so that was really, really good. And then of course the ability to give it a marker by resting either this card or one of my battle cards. It's really versatile. The fact that it's inherently a 2-drop, so it's a 2-drop engine right off the bat. Any 2-drop, Unisons, there's a couple 1-drops, but any 2-drop Unisons, are relatively good engines. But for me, ultimately, the problematic Unisons will always be, like the blocker ones. The ones that have blocker. So this has blocker, right? This has blocker. Early game, obviously late game, there's some really good ones that have late game effects, but they have to get to late game, and you should be beating them before it even gets to late game. And you should have beaten your opponent before they pay 5 blue to play this Unison. This could be a problem, very big problem, if you let your opponent get to the point where they can use this. This is the turn 3, so by turn 3 your opponent should already be down to 2 life. So this coming, being played would cause a problem, but ultimately you should be able to bypass it. If it blocks an attack, fine. Make sure you have extra attacks to go through and finish your opponent off. Now, if this was a turn 2 blocker, then it'd be a little bit more of a problem. A lot like this one. See, this is a turn 2 15k blocker, so that does present a problem. Because duels, technically, like when things really happen, is on turn 2 typically. Turn 1 is basic setup. You either do something or you don't. Turn 2, you definitely want to do something. Turn 3, you got to set up for turn 4. You got to prepare for turn 4, either to go for game or to set up the board to stall and try to get to turn 5 if turn 5 is your main turn, right? In turn 3, you want to do stuff like this is a turn 4, but turn 3 you want to do something like Broly, for example. The fact that he can he's 20k double strike, so that's decent stats, and the fact that you can +2 to make so that way you may choose one card from your hand, discard it, and then your opponent chooses a card from the hand, discards it, and then they KO one of the battle cards. So that's something you definitely want to do turn 3, because that will help you set up for turn 4. So getting rid of one card from your opponent's hand, so that you're putting them back a card, so you're reducing their card advantage by inherently, by using the effect, and then if you swing with the double strike, or you could just save him since you know he'll still be on the field because he's a unison. He already has 3 markers. He's going to last until turn 4, and then turn 4 is when you want to use him. So it'd be kind of counterproductive to use his ability to make your opponent discard a card and then swing with this and deal your opponent double strike damage, because now you give him 2 cards to replace the fact that you made him lose a card, and you remember you have to discard a card in order to get this to activate. I said he had 3. Obviously, when you do the +2, he'll be 5. He'll have 5 markers. He's definitely going to survive until the next turn. Your opponent's going to have to attack him 5 times to take him down, and that's with single strike. Your opponent would need like 2 double strikes in a single strike to take him down, for example. And that'd just be a waste of their attacks. So that's another way you can gain an extra turn. He could literally buy you another turn just by being on the field, by being a looming threat, a 20k double strike that your opponent, that you can use against your opponent. So something like this could be a problem turn 4, but it ain't a problem, turn 1, turn 2, and barely a problem turn 3. Unless they can use it on turn 3 and take you down, then of course they take you down. But if you have like 3 life or something like that, then this dealing you double strike wouldn't be a good idea. But if you could defend yourself, you could defend yourself, but you still gotta worry about this the following turn. Mostly, if it was a battle card with double strike, it's not that big a deal because you can just like block it, negate it, or just take the hit, and then just KO it with like a battle, a skill or something on the following turn, and don't have to worry about this still being there on turn 4. The fact that you do still have to worry about this still being there on turn 4, even if this did deal you damage, you swing with this, right, and you do double strike to your opponent, they still got to worry about the fact that you could do it again next turn. So then essentially it's 4 damage off of 1 play. So late game, unisons can be a problem. But early game, they don't tend to be that much of a problem. But I see a lot of people trying to take down unisons as quickly as possible. As soon as they see one, they just got to get rid of it. Not thinking, one, you're wasting a lot of attacks, a lot of effort to try to get rid of them, and then your opponent is just going to play another one. I mean, the way I play unisons is with that in mind, with the idea that, all right, I'll play a unison, I use it for whatever it does, and if my opponent wastes his attacks to get rid of it, fine. It served 2 purposes. It gave me something, and then it gave me defense. And defending myself or defending my life is top priority, right? It's very important. So that's why I like the blocker unisons, because they're more problematic because they're blockers. I like them on my side of the field. I don't like them on my opponent's side of the field. Like this card, for example, Go Tank Unison of Rage. I used it a lot. +1, active main, choose up to 1 card in your life and add it to your hand. Up to, that means I don't have to. So protect my life, right? Keep my life where it's at. Then choose one of your leader cards and it gets -5k power for the turn. And of course he has an auto which gives the leader 10k after it lost the 5k. So essentially, technically just gaining 5k power. So the fact that I can give this a marker so it stays on the field a lot longer, with a +1, I boost my leader. And if my leader has crit or double strike or something, good abilities, right? Dual attack, whatever. Then me giving it a power boost that I can attack with and not even use cards from my hands to combo. So I'm just getting free combo power out of this, free 5k for the turn. It's really useful, especially if the leader crits and stuff like that. So the leader's going to stay on the field, obviously, until the end of the game. The unison might last until the end of the game. Combining them two in synergy, you get a lot of value. So playing something like this with a leader that has crit or double strike is really nice, because that's a lot of value right there. That's why it'd be a bad idea for my opponent to waste time attacking the unison when all the unison is doing is supporting the leader, and the only way you're going to deal me damage or any player damage is through the leader. You should focus on the leader, which is why I don't recommend wasting any time trying to take down a unison when you should be trying to take down your opponent. That's what you should be getting good at, is beating your opponent. Not trying to figure out ways to counter this, counter that, counter this battle card, counter that. You can't. You don't lose to victory strike if you beat your opponent. Think about it. Beat your opponent, you never lose to a victory strike. shit, I would love to see somebody try to beat me with Victory Strike. So far, you know, not gonna happen. But it'd still be interesting to see somebody try. But interesting enough, man, it was kind of cool because I just threw it in there because it was a yellow Unison. Obviously, the better choice, because it's my Shenron deck, would be MicroRecords, because, you know, he'll let me awaken early, and being able to awaken is very important. And then he's a blocker, so a blocker Unison, that's extra icing on the cake. I like blocker Unisons on my side. That's free defense right there. That's free blocks right there. That's why I say don't focus on attacking opponent's Unison. Attack their leader. But if they have a blocker Unison, well, that's a problem. That's a real problem. It's not a problem if they just have a Unison that just has a +1 ability, you know, or +2 ability. Like, that's nice and all, but none of that matters. Usually what matters is their ultimates. If their ultimates are actually good. That brings me to the other thing, is memorize as many of the Unisons as possible, especially the popular ones. Memorize, you know, their costs, what they can do, and this, that, and the third. For example, the ones I like to use, well, now this one. So I like this card. I have used this one, but now, you know, because of the Shenron deck, is like I want to use this one, mainly because he's a 4-cost blocker. His abilities, I don't care too much for. It's just the whole awakening thing. But if I had to choose a blocker, obviously it would be Baby Resolute Avenger, because he costs 1 less to play. You know, the stats are pretty much the same, so I just rather have something I can play sooner than later. If they create a two yellow 15k, you know, blocker Unison, then of course that's the one I would want. You know, just like the Frost. The Frost, I have him just because he's a 15k blocker, 2-drops. Like, I have most of these. I have this one. I have this proxy. I think I just ordered it a couple days ago. Eventually I'll order this one. I have this one, of course. I have this one. I have the Jiren. But I don't have these other ones right here. But I would like to get them, of course. They're pretty good. But I have built decks with them, so I'm very familiar with the usefulness. Definitely need to order this one soon for my Fuse Damaso deck. It's funny that this is green, not yellow. This would be also for my Metal Cooler deck if it was yellow, but it's like, what? Now, if they make more green Metal Cooler cards, like a whole bunch of them and stuff like that, so that way I can upgrade and just have that whole, still have the whole Metal Cooler strategy of just every turn being able to drop a whole bunch of Metal Coolers and then have this, and that'd be cool. Like, I'd be okay with a green version of the Metal Cooler stuff. That'd be cool. But that's why I was so surprised that this was green. I'm like, oh man, why ain't you yellow? There'll be an auto include in my Metal Cooler deck if you were yellow. All I have is yellow in that deck. But anyway, so I guess I'm gonna have to set up for like Baby Resolute Avenger or Vegeta Unison Fury, because he put in work. So that was cool. But ultimately, you know, ignore the Unisons. They're not too different from Planeswalkers. Shit, I was in a duel where I kept focusing on attacking my opponent's Planeswalker because it was a Chandra Planeswalker, and I had the ability to keep making like 2/1/1 tokens with haste, and you know, so that's essentially 2 damage every turn. So in 10 turns I could lose, right, type of thing. So instead of focusing on making sure I had the ability to block, at least have a 2/2 blocker, 2/2 creature, and use it to block their one, you know, at least one of the tokens. That way I'm only taking 1 damage a turn, and then just swing at my opponent with, like, you know, 1 damage, 2 damage, 3 damage, you know, slowly add up the damages over turns by getting more and more battle creatures into play and attacking my opponent. So instead of focusing on dealing my opponent more damage than they're dealing me, I was too busy trying to get rid of the Planeswalker. And then when I finally did beat it, my opponent just played another one. I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. And it's the same thing with a Unison. why waste time attacking Unison trying to take it down when your opponent's just going to play another one? You got to take into account that even a 2-drop Unison takes 2 damage, so you'll either use a double strike or 2 single strikes. That costs a lot. You know, that's a leader swing plus a battle card in order to take down a 2-drop Unison. But they usually have an ability to give them a +1, so then you gotta, like this Vegeta Unison of Fury, you rest either this card, which would be the best option, or a battle card. So the best option would be to put this into rest mode after you play it, just to give it the counter. And you can make it even harder for your opponent because it does have the ability to -1 in order to make it where your opponent's battle cards that their costs are higher than the energy that your opponent has, like in case they are rivaled, or you know, or they summon a good card that typically gets summoned would be Bardock not Resolute, what I'm saying. Well, yeah, that can be summoned in most decks. I summon in a lot of decks, but I meant to say Raiders Warcry Bardock. You know, because you just pay 2 to combo it and then bang summon it, and then that's a 20k double strike. That'd be really good against a lot of these Unisons, because as you can see, most of these Unisons are 20ks, but on average they're 15ks. So that's something to take into consideration. And if something is 20k with double strike, you know, it makes it easier to take down a Unison when it has two or less markers in that regards. But that's why you want to make sure that your Unisons always have 3 or more markers, so it's harder to take down. But that's why it's a waste of time to attack them. It's a waste of time to even think about them, focus on them. They're not a threat unless they're a blocker. That become a problem, because all your valuable attacks are being redirected to them, which is a waste. That's the whole point. Attacking Unisons is a waste because that's a waste of the valuable attacks. Unless you have something that can attack one battle card that can attack a whole bunch of times to kill a Unison and then still be able to attack your opponent's leader, to me it's a waste. It's a waste to waste valuable attacks on a Unison, which is why for me blockers are the problematic Unisons, because they're the ones that can deliberately redirect your valuable attacks towards them, and they don't matter if they do or don't die, and usually they don't, because the way they die is by losing all their markers. And if they already have 5 freaking markers, like this Dark Broly would have 5 freaking markers right off the bat. You know, a double strike, quadruple strike won't be enough to take this down. Think about it. A valuable quadruple strike being wasted on a Broly, and then the Broly's still on the field. That's ridiculous. So don't waste your valuable attacks on that. Then you got something like this where it pluses 1 for free. It makes a 15k battle card, so that's already a problem, right? 15k battle card, so it's something they can attack with. So there's 2 attacks right there. This can kill, you could be used to kill Unison, because right there that's 2 attacks. I mean, obviously using a Unison against a Unison, like a Unison with double strike, can help you kill another Unison, so have a Unison battle, right? But again, that's still a waste. Why waste these valuable attacks on another Unison when you can just use them against your opponent's leader, right? Take advantage that the Unisons will stay on the field for a couple turns. Use them to beat your opponent instead of wasting any valuable attacks on your opponent's Unison. Too many people are trying to have freaking Unison battles, and it's like, that's a waste. Just attack your opponent's leader, win the game already. But like I was saying, you play this and you get a token, and then you do the +1 ability. You may choose 1 card from your hand and discard it if you do draw 2 cards. So you're getting some hand advantage out of that, as well as this will have 4 markers. So 1 quadruple strike can take it down, but that'd be a waste of a quadruple strike when you rather use a quadruple strike on your opponent's leader. Or if you have 2 double strikes, again, will be a waste on a Unison when you rather use it on your opponent's leader. So there's no point in attacking battle cards, because even if this thing lasted until next turn, its ultimate is only to make 3 tokens by sacrificing this card. I mean, it would be a sacrifice. No, yeah, it would be a sacrifice, because next turn, if they go ultimate, they will only have 4 markers. So, well, first they'll make a token, so they'll have at least 2 tokens then do this, make 3 more tokens, so this will be gone, so then you have 5 tokens, and that's if they didn't attack with the one from the previous turn. But 5 15k tokens, that's nice, but whoop-de-freaking-do. This will be essentially a turn 4 strategy. You should have beaten your opponent on, you know, before they get to on your turn 3, before they even get to turn 4, to even try to get these many tokens into play. So, good cards. These are really good cards. You know, these are among my favorite ones, but still, focus on taking your opponent down. Worry about the blocker ones, yeah. If there's some effects that can help you, you know, tap them and, you know, prevent the blocker ones from blocking, that I consider important, to make sure that the Unisons can't block and absorb your valuable attacks, and then give all your valuable attacks to your opponent like they deserve. And that's the end of the video.